Well, here we are. The Ezio Collection finale. God fucking damn it, it's been a year. Or nearabouts, since it is. Well, it's the 11th of April when this comes out. It's the 10th of April as I record this. So I've got 24 hours to sort this shit out. God damn it. There is an update at the end of this video which is important to the rest of the well, which is it's to do with the schedule coming up. Really important. But before we get to that, we've got two reviews to do in this video. Now, this first video that I'm going to be, well, this first short that I'm going to be talking about, I actually didn't know existed until this year. Otherwise I would have done it during Brotherhood, because it takes place during that time period. Fucking hell. So the reason why I didn't know about this is because it's not included in the Ezio Collection. It's a piece of the puzzle, but it's not in the collection that has the entire puzzle. So it's not a complete collection, it's just... Why, Ubisoft? Thank goodness it is available online. Which is how I watched this. So, as I mentioned, it takes place during Brotherhood. Yeah, Brotherhood is a good game, whatever. It's split up into two parts. The first part is all about Ezio meeting up with Leonardo and going over the forgotten Borgia family member in Brotherhood. Cesare had an older brother, never mentioned in the game, at least not verbally. It might have been in the codex. No, not the codex. The Animus database. I don't know. I've never really looked through all of that stuff. It's not that important. It just goes over how Cesare set up his brother to be murdered by a courtesan, a lady of the night, because of course there would be sex and murder in the Borgia family. And then it also mentions some conspirators who were trying to kill Cesare for their own agendas, who ended up being killed by Cesare's hand, basically. The short is 2D animation, but the locations are basically drawn over versions of the in-game models. So they literally took the map of the game, drew over it in whatever art software they use, and used that drawing as the background to the events. And I have to say, it's actually really well drawn. Admittedly, it's a bit sketchy. Like, it's not polished. But given how that ties into most of the artwork from that time, I say most because Leonardo da Vinci was there, and I've heard he's pretty good at his job. Just oh, I'm terrible. Yeah, it's sort of something similar that you would see on Twitter or Facebook or DeviantArt. Didn't think I'd be mentioning that so soon. But that's only part one. Part two is the making of, which is how I know how they made the world. They were actually doing this concurrently with the making of the game, but they were a separate, smaller team. And I mentioned that this story takes place between 2 and Brotherhood, but obviously that's not true, since you have Penthesilea, Barty's wife, and the French guy who I forget the name of, from, I believe it's sequence 8 or 9. The one where you have to literally walk into the French fort and save Penthesilea. It's very, very obvious that they didn't quite make it fit with what they were going for. But I suppose because most of it is in flashbacks, which in itself is technically in a flashback because of the Animus. You know what? It's fair enough. Also, they show a map of the world with one marker that I didn't recognise at first. And then they brought up the comics. Soon. I will cover the comics soon enough. Spin-off feature is going to be its own thing. Like we've been doing with these reviews, it's just... it's going to take me some time to deal with that. Um, the final note that I have about this first short thing is the fact that they reference something called the Ubisoft stamp of equality. Ubisoft stamp of quality. Ubisoft stamp of... Why? Sorry. In what realm of insanity does that exist? Because it is not in reality. That... So, full disclosure, this is coming out sort of when I'm at 95% of completing Assassin's Creed 3. At least the main story of it. So, I've played most of the game at this point. I have seen some shit in Assassin's Creed 3 that, quite honestly, makes me both violently angry and laugh at the phrase Ubisoft stamp of quality. Oh. We will get to that when we get to that, I promise. But that was back in 2010. Since this is the finale of the Ezio Collection, it's time to talk about Embers, the epilogue to Ezio's life. This one is done in CGI, so it looks a bit better. They do use certain shots from the Assassin's Creed 2 map, but most of it, I think, is new. There is no making of, as far as I can tell. But this one is kind of depressing. So let's get right into this. It starts off... I'm going to guess it's about 10, 15 years after Revelations. And you'll see why in a minute. Or at least I'll tell you why in a minute. It begins with Ezio writing his memoirs on his vineyard in the middle of Romania. He's retired as an assassin. Or at least he's trying to. Again, we'll come back to that in a second. Sophia, who Ezio is now married, tells Ezio she's taking her eldest son to Florence to visit Claudia, Ezio's sister. Um, Ezio assumed that she was taking him to see a play by Machiavelli. However, when Sophia says that it's been done for 3 weeks, I think they said, Ezio realised Ezio's clearly shown to have some minor memory issues. Ooh. It's depressing, to say the least. Later that day, Ezio goes out into the fields to do some harvesting, I think. And he briefly sees a hooded figure, once in the distance, and then when he turns to check on his daughter, who he's still looking after, who's younger than their eldest, apparently. His daughter is talking to a stranger in a hood. Fearing the worst, he runs over and grabs the intruder. But it turns out it's an assassin. And she's here to lead her section of the order from China. And because Ezio was the leader of the assassins in Italy and briefly in Istanbul, that is obvious that Ezio would be the one that she found. By the way, this character's name is called Xiao Yun. I'll bring up what I think of her character in a little bit. Ezio denies her request for assistance, even just tutoring. And Sophia, who has returned, lets her stay the night. The next day, Xiaoyun reads Ezio's memoirs without asking permission. She says that the door blew open. I'm sure she didn't break in. She's an assassin. She wouldn't go snooping unless it was an accident. He tells her to leave, but she recites his words to try to get him to teach her. Apparently she can speak Italian, by the way, even though she's Chinese, which is really weird when you think about it. Which I won't for too much. He sort of begrudgingly invites her to, at least to talk, during which time, they can travel to Florence together. Ezio leads Xiaoyan to the site of his family's murders, which is now a party location. Well, whereas it is get depressing. Oh boy. Going all the way back to the start of this shithole mess. It's so, I get it. You just wanted to use assets that you had while telling the final chapter of the story, and you wanted to. I'll get to the ending in a bit. It's just, I get it, but it does feel really depressing. Also, is that fucking wasp again? I've let out that wasp 3 times today. Fucking hell. Anyway, on the way home, they get attacked by Chinese people. They're in masks and hoods, and well, it's only one person at this point, but because there's 2 assassins, the assassins win, obviously. So that was kind of a bit pointless, I guess, but seriously, fuck that wasp. But she, no, but really it was just Xiaoyan defending herself and Ezio, and then there's a cool fight scene. I liked it. Xiaoyan kills the attacker. Fairly standard stuff for Assassin's Creed, to be honest. And then they return back to they call it a villa. It's just a building out in the field, more like a farmhouse than anything else. They get followed without their knowledge, and we learn that the Chinese emperor hates the assassins. We never find out at this time if that's because that he's a Templar, but he's the reason why Xiaoyan and her mentor, who we never see, left for Italy. They got as far as, okay, exact words here. Her mentor died in Venezia, Venice. She can speak Italian fluently in a Chinese accent. Ubisoft stamp of quality. That's my new meme from now on. Jesus Christ. In preparation for a fight that is obvious to anyone who's been in that situation, Ezio sends his family to Machiavelli's house to spend the night. Night draws in, and there's a fight going on. Ezio really starts to show his age, but he somehow saves Xiaoyun from a gun, stabs someone in the eye, and survives getting impaled against a tree. Clearly, the luck of the apple of Eden is still shining on him at this point. The next morning, after the attack is done, if you think I'm skipping over all of this, this was only 20 minutes short. I'm spending as much time talking about this, well, slightly less time talking about this than I am watching the actual short. The next morning, after the attack, Xiaojin starts a journey back to China. Ezio gives her a gift, but we don't see what it is. Ezio returns to his writing and is in pain, but joins his family on one trip to Florence that day. Being old and tired and in pain, he sits on a bench and talks to a stranger about attitude and loving the city that you're from. And the guy just touches Ezio on the shoulder. They share a look. And the guy walks off, leaving Ezio motionless on the bench. And thus, the life of Ezio Auditore da Firenze came to an end. But what happened to Xiaoyun? We'll come back to her, because there is a game called Assassin's Creed Chronicles. One of the parts of that game is called China. I wonder. But yeah, that's the out of the 3 Assassin's Creed shorts done by Ubi Workshop, Embers is my favourite. All 3 of them are different. The first one's live action, the second is 2D animation, the third one is 3D. They chronicle different points of Ezio's life, technically. I mean, the first one was more about Ezio's father's life, but they overall, this was like 50 minutes worth of extra content. Admittedly, only 40 of that was on the Ezio Collection, so I am cheating a little bit here. But it's still important, and it does show the growth of the characters, the motivations, how they change. And it does give a proper ending to the Ezio story. And I mean, really, it's a better ending than walking out of the vault in Messiah at the end of Revelations and just living happily ever after. Because we do not know for sure whether Ezio was murdered that day in Florence. He could have just died of old age. It could have been it could have been a phantom or a devil or the Grim Reaper, for all we know. It's just ambiguous whether Ezio was murdered or not. What we do know is that Ezio was never seen again in any Assassin's Creed. Any main Assassin's Creed media. He gets mentioned and he has a few little inserts here and there throughout the rest of the series, but this is it for Ezio. I've completed the Ezio Collection. And I kind of feel annoyed by it because I know what happens next and it just goes downhill. Everyone thinks that 4 is the best. I think we've already gone past the high points. But we'll have to see how that pans out when we get to 4, which will be after Liberation, which will be after 3, which begins tomorrow. And as far as I am trying to get done, I'm trying so hard with this. At first, I only had the first 5 parts uploaded. Before I went into lockdown, before I went into isolation, before I lost access to the best internet I can have at the moment, and before I lost my external hard drive. God fucking damn it. Where the fuck are you? Oh, I'll find it eventually, I'm sure. But at that point, I had uploaded everything I had ready to go. And then I was editing and got 20 more episodes ready. So that made me a bit awkward, and then I realised, oh shit, it's the 8th of April. I'm running out of time. I need to get these uploaded. And thankfully, I am getting them uploaded. Slowly. But they are getting uploaded. So that's been my focus. However, this does mean that I'm only getting one video done a day. It's fine. I would prefer to have the two going on at once, the two series going on at once, but this is fine. I can deal with this. At the moment, the first 21 episodes are an hour long in length. Or at times an hour and a half. Good damn it. And they are of varying quality. Again, due to the isolation and the lack of best internet, I cannot upload more than one a day. And even then it takes 2.5 hours in the morning with no one using the internet to do that. So, yeah, I'm just playing it by ear at this point. From episode 22 onwards, in Assassin's Creed 3, the episodes will be half as long, but there might be doubled up. So there might be 2 episodes a day rather than 1. I haven't decided yet. I have not even finished the game, like I mentioned. I haven't finished the DLCs, or at least, 100%ing them. And I have a lot more recording and stuff to do. Thankfully, I've already got Assassin's Creed Liberation and 4 on the PS4 installed already. I have no idea what to do. When that runs out, I might just go on to more reviews, because I've got more of them to do. I might... There you are, you bastard wasp! Sorry, I'm gonna have to let him out. Sorry. Yeah. Fuck off out of here. Cunt. Anyway, oh, what was I saying? Alright, yeah. I've got more reviews to do. I can get to work on them whenever. Most of my focus will be getting Assassin's Creed 3 done. I might do some of the reviews in between 3 and Liberation. I don't know. It depends, really. But yeah, I'm basically going on to what I'm calling loose mode. Ideally, only 1 episode or 1 video a day from now until I can get back in the house. And even then, it might still be a few weeks or probably months, let's be honest. I might end up spending the next few months just doing one video a day, even after I get out of isolation, because the summer holidays are approaching, which is what I was going to have all of the reviews ready to go for, so that I could just essentially go on break for 2 months until September. But of course that isn't happening, so but I am refusing to let this channel die. It might be a life support for a while, but I'm still committed to uploading or having a video release every single day. I'm just glad that I have like 4 different lists at this point that I can just pick and choose from, basically whenever. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hang in there, we can make it through this. As long as I can get videos made, keep getting food in to me. God damn it. I've had a few scares this past month about food. Life is so shit right now. But hey, at least I can play Animal Crossing and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Oh wait. Wait, I can't get them physically.